Let's go.
Welcome to Citizen. We got a special guest today. I don't. Does anybody know your actual name?
Yeah, it's a mixture. Some people, like Aaron and Trent, will call me Jared, but
Yeah.
most people knows me as Peaches.
Yeah, Jared Pietras is your name.
Yes.
Which is very close to Peaches, which I assume is the origin of that.
Yeah, it's not real creative, right?
No.
I mean, during selection when you're yelling at somebody and you're supposed to be, this big tough badass, and you get named Peaches, it's supposed to be demeaning and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
you just lean into it,
Yeah. I mean, it's like calling a big dude tiny, I guess.
Except I am tiny.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you're
I'm a little person.
You're a small. Yeah, it is pretty funny to have operators named Peaches. To be honest, that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Because between our group of friends, probably there's got to be like 1,000 or more people that we know or are familiar with who are fucking pipe hitters. I can't think of anybody with a gayer nickname.
Yeah. But
So,
I take it.
Congratulations. I mean, that's if you're going to be something, be the fucking best at it. You know what I mean?
I think I am.
I like that. So you and you and the guys started One's Ready.
Yep.
And it's like the Air Force is so much different than the other branches in this regard, with regard to the pipeline to get to a particular. You guys call them career fields, but you guys like bundle career fields. And there's a early pipeline, and then you kind of branch off as you go on. Like I guess Special Forces has that a little bit, where you go to the different A schools after for Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. But your guys is wildly different. So for anybody that isn't familiar with the process, I'm some dipshit on my mom's couch right now. And I want to be a JTAC or a fucking TAC-P or a combat controller or a PJ or whatever. Where do I go? How do I start, and what's the process from A to Z on that?
So you got to see a recruiter, right? Just like you do with any other services. The kind of difference of the services, really, though, is, and it's less so in the Army and in the Navy than it used to be. Because it used to be, if you wanted to be a SEAL or you wanted to be in Green Beret, you had to do another job first and then cross over. And then, so like Special Forces started the 18 X-ray program, which would allow off the streets dudes to go straight in. The Air Force, for combat control, pararescue, TAC-P, has always done that. So I came in when I was 17 and went through the pipeline and selection and all that kind of good stuff. But if you're interested in it, you just got to see a recruiter first. If you're under 17, a recruiter won't talk to you. You got to be 17, parents' permission and all that kind of stuff. And then really, once you end up shipping, you go to basic training, and then you go right into special warfare assessment selection.
How long is basic training for you guys?
I think it's 8 weeks now.
That's about. I think the Army's 9.
Yeah,
so that's pretty normal.
I mean, it's still soft, pretty soft. They are doing, to their credit, the Air Force has recognized that there are some deficiencies within basic training, and they are trying to course correct those right now.
And what do they see as the deficiencies?
Well, I mean,
from my perspective, having gone through Army basic training, the primary deficiency is it's a fucking waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
You know what I mean? Same thing with airborne school.
You mean you could have done airborne in 1 week?
You could do it, yes. with the weekend off, you could do it in 1 week, literally. 1 day for ground, 1 day for tower, 1 day for the jumps.
And you would have been fine.
It's 5 jumps, man. I mean, and another thing I would change about airborne school is I would do 4 fixed wing and 1 rotary, just so people have experience scooting out of either out of the back of a King or off the side of a Black Hawk or something like that, right? I think that would be, 1, it would be fun.
Yeah.
2, they're quite a bit easier. I don't know if you've ever gotten into fun jumps before, but like go. You were at Bragg, right, for some amount of time?
Yes, I was. Well, I was at Pope, but yeah.
Yeah. Every now and again, back on Luzon or somewhere like that, dude, fucking just take a Black Hawk out there with a big fucking truck full of parachutes. You go up, jump, go up, jump. It's
Just
fucking,
doing elevators.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
That's way better than going to green ramp. And
And waiting for
and it
5
takes
hours
like
job
5 hours. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, with the Army, obviously, I think they're for basic training at Fort Jackson or something like that. Do what you got to do,
Yeah.
right? Because you're getting you're gonna have some studs for sure because some studs want to do poke jobs. It's the way it is. But for infantry, so it's OSIT with the Army, right? For infantry, it's like 9 weeks of basic and then 4 weeks of A school, so it's like 13 straight weeks. I think that's
Okay.
how they're still doing it actually. But there should be only studs,
Yes.
right? Which means the training requirements should be elevated to that level. So if you're getting 13 weeks, it should be 13 intense weeks. I remember sitting around a lot and doing nothing, man. You know what I mean? And maybe that's like bad organization. Maybe it's bad time management. I don't know what the deal with that is. Or maybe it's just like even then, people were like falling out of stuff that were there as recruits. I'm like, oh boy. So I feel like it's not just the Air Force that's fucked up. So
No.
what was the problem with the Air Force, or what is rather?
Well, just like you said, there's a lot of sitting around. Now, the one thing that we have managed to get, and when I say we, I mean Air Force Special Warfare, has been able to carve out is they have certain ship dates. And so when they ship, they will actually go to a flight, or I guess you guys would call it platoon or whatever, but
yeah.
of just dudes that want to go do these jobs. So they get more time to eat, they get more time to work out, so there's less sitting around. They get just more physical exertion, right? So the idea is that you're supposed to be around like-minded people that have the same goal in mind and that want to get after it, and you get extra time so that you have a better chance of passing selection when you go to it, since you're going straight from basic training. So,
Yeah, that's something I'm always curious about when it comes to selections. Like, does it benefit us more to have a system designed specifically to weed people out, or a system that graduates over some amount of time that's designed to find people who would have been weeded out without just this one piece of instruction, for example, right?
right.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, that seems like a much better fucking solution to me than just having like, hey, you either make it or you don't. It's like, okay, well, are we training dudes, or are we fucking just finding dudes who are already trained? Because it's obviously
Right.
not the latter.
So here's what's wild is that the attrition rate, at least, and I can't speak for Buds or SFAS, but for us, the attrition rate has stayed the same. Whether when we had the old NDOC model, whether we just threw people in the pool and said, you need to survive, versus now where we have deliberate train up. So when we talked about that 17, 18-year-old going to see a recruiter, they go and do their initial processing, stuff like that at MEPS. Then they get to enter what's called a development program. And we actually have a company that is contracted, and they're regionally based, to train recruits that are looking to go into Air Force Special Warfare.
Yeah.
So they train them, once a week, twice a month, or whatever it is. And honestly, we spend a lot of money on that, and the attrition rate hasn't changed. And that's not a popular opinion, at least within the leadership ranks. But the numbers are the numbers.
Well, that doesn't sound like an opinion. It sounds like math to me.
It does, but I don't have the actual numbers right off the top of my head. So,
Let's circle back on you. Where did you grow up?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. Right
Carolina
down the
boy.
street. Yeah, same. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you a fan of either of those schools?
I go for USC, but then when Clemson's playing somebody else other than USC,
Yeah.
I'll go for Clemson.
Only people in South Carolina refer to them as USC, by the way. I found that out
Yeah.
when I went to college the first time. They're like, what do you mean USC? Like in
SoCal?
Compton? I'm like, no. Compton.
Not that one.
What made you decide to join the Air Force?
I wanted to do cool shit and pump my veins full of adrenaline, and I wanted to kind of test myself.
Well, how did you know that, other than being a pilot, how did you know that there was an adrenaline to be pumped in the Air Force? Because, it's not considered to be a pipe hitter branch, although there's quite a
Right.
few pipe hitters over there. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I talked to the Navy recruiter about SEALs. I talked to Army recruiters about Ranger and Green Beret. But at that time when I came in, you still had to go do a different job first. And I was like, that doesn't interest me. The Air Force provided
there wasn't an 18 X-ray when you went in? Oh,
Nope.
okay.
So the Air Force provided me right out the gate. And also within, Green Berets, you're not guaranteed to go to free fall. You may or dive.
Yeah.
You may go to a mountain team or you may go to a jump team, but you really want to go dive. The Air Force offered me both right out the gate. So I was guaranteed free fall, guaranteed dive, guaranteed all these other schools, and it was like, yeah, that sounds right for me. And I'm in the Air Force, not the Army or Navy. And I don't have to go be on a ship or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about buds. If you don't make it, you go to the fleet, and then who knows? It's need to the Navy at that point. And the Navy is really gay. Not in the way that you're thinking, by the way. It's just like...
Not in a normal drinking bros kind of gay.
No, I would never. That being fleet Navy is the worst job I can possibly imagine. Now, I'm sure a lot of people do it and have fun with it and stuff like that. I actually have a lot of friends who enjoyed it, but their personal constitution matches there. For somebody that wants to do wild shit, you're going to be in trouble the whole time.
Oh yeah.
If you're a fucking wild asshole and you go to the fleet and the Navy, you're fucked.
Yeah.
At least in the Marine Corps, they expect you to be retarded. So it's like, all right, dude, just and you're probably gonna get NJP'd a few times. In the Navy, though, you're gonna be in some serious trouble. Just being bored and whatnot like that.
But I mean, can you imagine being on a sub? Like,
no, that would look. I don't like the sunlight. You can tell from my skin. We're both pasty gingers.
I am.
I'm only ginger in the beard, but yeah, it's that would be rough for a 4 to 6 month float or longer. That would be rough. I mean, what do you even do?
That's what I mean. And then if you are in enemy territory, like you can't go run on the treadmill. You've got to run silent.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. Like it's wild, and you can never talk about. And say you never, but some of those subs, depending on what you're on, you can never talk about it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially ones that are down in Puerto Rico right now, firing test launches.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be... They should make them a Quiet Place 3, and it's just on a sub for 6 months.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, fuck that. Anyway, so you joined to be a PJ, right? But then you switched...
Yep. Yeah, because I didn't know any better, right?
You didn't join to be a combat weatherman, at least.
No, I did not join to be a weatherman.
Which is that still a thing?
It is not. Well, the Air Force still has weathermen, but that career field transitioned to special reconnaissance and got away from weather.
Yeah. Do you remember that commercial where the dude like pops up out of the water and he's got like a wind? What do you call it?
A weather balloon.
Weather balloon. Yeah. Oh my god, dude. When I saw it, Jared showed me that the first time. I think I had never seen it before. I think it was after we got back from a deployment, so like in middle of 2008 or something. I'm like, God, you guys are super gay, dude. That's really funny. I mean, there's our Pathfinders do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that would be a completely separate career field necessarily, because a Pathfinder is an additional duty. It's not like a primary MOS or anything.
Right. Yeah. It's the only argument I could say, like the difference between those guys is with all the small unmanned aerial systems and stuff like that now.
Well, now
like they are focused on that. They are focused on some electronic warfare.
Now it makes a lot of sense. Actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why they made the transition, because they said, in the next fight that we're potentially going to be in, this is, I mean, we've seen it in Ukraine, the testing bed of drone technology, right?
Yeah.
And so now it's more important than it ever has been.
Yeah, it's big over there now. I mean, it's. I have some buddies that have spent more time there than here the last couple of years, just working on those projects. It's crazy. But you transitioned over to combat controller when you figured out more about what the landscape was. Well,
Yep.
What made you want to do that more than pararescue?
So, I showed up to selection, to NDOC, and I was surrounded by a handful of combat control candidates, and then a whole bunch of PJ, and there was instructors that are PJs and combat controllers, and they just started describing what they did, because most of us had only heard about PJs.
Yeah.
And so they said, all right, well, this normally doesn't happen, but this is your one chance that if you want to swap your career field now, before you make it through there, we will allow you to do it. And there were several of us that reached out. I just working with planes. Medicine doesn't bother me, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind getting my hands mucky or whatever, but the talking on radios, dropping bombs, working with planes, that just spoke to me more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know that back at so a lot of movies and TV back in the 80s and 90s inspired dudes to join certain
Yeah.
things like Charlie Sheen, for example, is a big one. I think the first time we ever saw a PJ on screen was in the movie Sniper at the very end where Tom Berenger and what's his nuts are getting extracted.
Yeah.
And you see the helicopter land. I think that was the first time I
Was
ever
that
saw
before Air Force One? With Harrison Ford.
That's a good question. I don't know which came out first.
I don't know either
Air Force
because
One had it too.
yeah, because when they landed in the pod, the hilarious part about that is they were wearing their berets out in the field, after jumping in or whatever they ended up doing. So, but
Well, that's because otherwise no one would know.
right,
Who
and,
they
and
are.
I get it. It's branding. It's just like Tyrese in Transformers
Yeah,
running
wearing his-
through with his
yeah.
nice crisp beret. I mean,
Yeah, we are not French. So Air Force One was 97 and Sniper was 93.
okay, yeah.
So I think Billy Zane and Tom Berenger were the first people to be scooped
Yep.
up on camera because everything else was Air Cav before that, right?
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, that's interesting. What is a? Tell me the difference between what Jared Taylor did and what you do, because I don't think I personally don't understand the difference.
So Jared was a tactical air control party or TACP,
TACP,
which
yeah.
their sole job is doing close air support, calling in airstrikes. Every single one of them is a joint terminal attack controller or a JTAC. So the JTAC is a qualification. Combat controllers focus on drop zones, airfields, reconnaissance, and then we also have the joint terminal attack controller mission on top of that.
Why different? Why are they different? Like, what's the purpose of having two different things?
Well, there's not enough TACPs to go around, and plus most of them are on the conventional side, and so SOCOM needed its own JTAC capability as well. So
combat controllers are all soft.
yep,
Okay.
except for the ones that are in like your training command,
Sure, yeah,
or something like that. But so TACPs actually have they kind of can fork out. You have your ones that are on the conventional side, and you have your ones that are on the soft SOCOM side of the house, and then they go through an additional assessment and selection, and then we, pick and choose who we're going to take, and ship them out to the units.
Interesting. So you did that for a while.
Yep, 25 years. I just retired in March.
It's a long time to do something.
Yeah.
How's your wife taking you being at home more? Is she like? Do you need to get a
Dude.
hobby or a divorce or what's going on?
It was
It's
an adjustment.
You've got to do something out of the house or I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
murder you. Okay.
So, I spent most of my career doing GWAT stuff, right? We deploy, come back home, rest, recoup, start training again for the train up, and then deploy. So we got very used to that. Then I ended up going and being an instructor at the weapons school, which had a lot more time at home. That was an adjustment.
This is in Vegas.
This is in Vegas,
Yeah.
yep. So that was a lot more time at home, which was an adjustment. Then I went back to the teams and deployed and was gone a lot. And then came back to Vegas again for a second time. But now that I'm retired, it definitely was an adjustment. And she likes it. The kids like it. It's good to, I'm able to take my son to school now. Sometimes I pick him up. Most of the time I don't pick him up. Like, leave that to wife. But
Yeah.
it's cool. Like, it's good to be around him because my son and daughter are cool people. So,
Yeah. How old are they?
my daughter's 18 and my son's 14.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. So she's like gone through the period where she hates her mom and she's back to being friends with mom again, or how's it? Where is it?
She has actually never hated mom.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Because teenage girls go through a lot of them, not all obviously, but a lot of them go through that phase where it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't even know what it is. I think it's just that women intrinsically don't like each other. They pretend to.
They tear each other down so
yeah.
fast. No, I'm not talking about my daughter
No,
and my wife, but women will tear each other down quicker than veterans will.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's weird, but like to not have gone through that that's good. I mean, they must have a good relationship.
They do, and my kids are just unbelievable. They really are. I'm lucky, especially as gone as I was. Like I almost didn't meet my daughter just because I was deployed and some stuff happened. So like, just the fact that I get to meet her, was amazing. So, yeah, it's weird too because she gets super. I mean, this is going to be embarrassing to her, but she gets super upset when she starts thinking about me aging. Right, so we start talking about ginger beards. I got some gray coming up here, and she's like, "It's just weird to see you getting older and realize that one day I'm going to lose you and that kind of stuff." It's a weird kind of thing.
It's an odd thing for an 18-year-old to be thinking about,
right?
But I guess kids that are from the military have to deal with that in a way that most people don't.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's a difficult thing. How I handle that.
It's appreciative, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you don't have to worry about that, right? Like, yes, it'll happen, and it's all part of life, but it'll happen later on, so you ain't got to worry about it.
You met your wife in somewhere overseas
in England,
in Europe, somewhere in England. Okay.
Yeah, I spent 8 years over
what's
in
that
the UK.
We have an Air Force base there. What is it?
Well, we've got Mildenhall, Lakenheath. We got a lot.
That's what I was thinking of. Is that where you were?
I was at Mildenhall because that's the AFSOC base.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And was she in the Air Force as well, working?
Nope, she's English.
Oh, gross,
Yeah.
dude. Do you remind her every 4th of July? Like, yeah.
Yeah, we talk shit.
You motherfucker.
I told, and here's how arrogant I was when I first met her. And it wasn't that night, but it was 1 or 2 dates in, and I told her that the United Kingdom was the largest U.S. aircraft carrier.
That's pretty much right, actually.
She was not appreciative of that.
Look.
But yeah,
I'm sure she's glad not to be there right now.
So she's actually supposed to head back there in 2 weeks and taking my daughter on kind of her senior trip because that's what she wanted to go. She left there when she was 4. And she actually told me yesterday, she goes, I don't know whether we should actually change our plane tickets because I want to go there and actually enjoy myself and be able to show my daughter where we're going. And now I don't know what it's going to be like because you've seen pictures coming out of King's Cross Station, which was one of the largest ones they have there.
Yeah.
And it's just lined up, whatever you want to call them, illegals, migrants, whatever, right? And the shit that is going on in the UK now, which sucks because, I mean, I loved my time over there. I spent 8 years over there.
Yeah, it used to be dope.
Yeah. It was fucking fantastic. And now...
Ireland, too.
Yeah.
Ireland with the migrants, so they... a bunch of Irish hooligan football fans were protesting yesterday. There was some, Free Palestine thing going on, and they were saying, I can't remember what the exact chant was, but it was something about shoving your Palestine up your ass or something like that, which is pretty on brand for those guys, to be fair. I don't other places that might be a little too coarse, but I think for them that's actually quite mild for those guys. It's unfortunate what's going on there. It's weird to we're going through this process right now where national pride is they're trying to rewrite that as somehow being xenophobic or racist or something like that. It's like, wow, I mean, national pride in America has never been about anybody's race. That was the racial element was superfluous to national pride. You know what I mean? I mean, you can see this throughout history. Prior to the civil rights movement during Jim Crow, a large, just the same percentage of black dudes volunteered to go to World War II as white dudes. Something like 40,000 Japs volunteered from inside internment camps to go fight in World War II. Right? I think it was 38,000 or some shit like that. It's no, people, regardless of what bullshit they may have been going through at the time, everybody was pretty much on the same page. We got some problems here, but everybody else is fucked, right? And England was like that for a long time too. They've had a pretty big Indian population for a long before all
Yeah,
this late stuff started going on. I mean, the national dish is fucking curry for
and
Christ's
it's
sake.
amazing.
It's very good, yeah. I mean, you
Love.
can't eat actual English food. Fish and chips is good, but everything
Yeah,
else is just like, oh, here's a hot dog and a fucking raw tomato. I'm like, nah, man, come on now.
some
I'm
bangers
not
and
doing, yeah,
mash
I'm
and
not
that kind
doing
of
this
stuff. Yeah,
bullshit. Get out of here.
but yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah, it's like the national pride element in the two biggest empires in human history has literally never been about what your race was. It's about like here's the idea that we believe in, and if you participate in it, you can find some measure of success if you participate in the idea. But you know, people that try to tear that down, they're from the outside, and they're trying to do it from the inside out now. You know, through postmodernism and shit. But that's your enemy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if you've got a really nice house that your family comes to have dinner every night, and somebody that's some person that's not in your family has convinced someone in your family just to take a shit in the living room before every meal, you're like, all right, well, we got to fix this problem,
yeah,
right? But it has that's not a commentary on the quality of the dinner or the living room or the house. It's a commentary on the asshole.
yeah.
You
It's
know what I
what you
mean?
allow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same people that say it's nationalism are they'll happily tout and love that they're from California or Texas or and they'll be proud of that. So you're proud to be from your state, but you're not proud to be from America, and now that makes you a racist asshole. Like I don't understand that or a xenophobe.
Mm.
It it's okay to be proud from where you come from. I mean,
I mean, it's not just okay; it's important.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There's a number of different psychological theories on this. One is the IKEA effect. Are you familiar with that?
yeah, the eighty
So
percent.
yeah, so if you even if you receive something assembled 80%, if you do the last 20, you still feel a greater sense of ownership over it. And that's what if you're in America, you're pretty much born on third base, right? So you just take what you've got, make something 20% better, and then you should. Well, I mean, psychologically speaking, you will feel a greater sense of accomplishment. So when somebody tells you that you can't, right? Not that you're not allowed to, not that I'm going to stop you from it, but hey, the system won't allow you to do this, so you've got to go do something else. That person is a cunt,
Yeah,
and they're a liar as well. Yeah, so it's not just like it's vital to us, to any country actually, to have national pride. I saw there was this black lady at a protest in England, actually an anti-immigration protest, and she was like, "Yeah, my family came here the correct way, and I have black skin, but I'm British. I don't give a fuck about where I
yeah.
came from. You know what I mean? But I left there for a fucking reason. It's like I don't understand. I don't understand the and maybe we just haven't had this discussion enough as a group yet, but this having to escape a place and trying to maintain your pride in it in a new place is odd, right? I think some dialogue has to happen around separating culture from circumstance and politics. You know what I mean? So like people are waving Mexican flags after having escaped poverty in
Yes.
Mexico. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand that you want to maintain your culture and heritage, which is you should, right? It
Yeah.
kind of is. That's a reasonable and important thing for your family. But the flag of the country is an odd choice that you left, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
maybe there's no getting around that. But I do think sometimes we assume because they're waving the flag of the country that they're talking about the country, and then the dumber people on that side, that's what they are saying because
Yeah.
they're fucking stupid and they don't have to separate the two. Sometimes being a leader means giving people the tools to solve their own problems, and one of those tools is the ability to think clearly. You know what I mean? Just the dialectic.
But that
'Cause-
mob mentality, when people are out there, whether it's protesting or rioting or whatever you want to call it, depending on how that event is going, it shit. I mean, like my wife, she's a U.S. citizen now. She took the immigration test or the naturalized citizen test. studied, did all the right way. We've got some of the same Hispanic friends that we have served with that did it the legal way, right? And they don't like what's going on. They're like, dude, I spent all this time and I spent this money and I did it right. And now I'm getting kind of wrapped up into this bullshit that's going on. It's not fair on them either. And
No.
my wife is the first one that waved the U.S. flag. Is she proud of being being English and being from Britain? Of course, and she should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like that's the one of the problems that I think we're having is people on, I guess let's call it the nationalist side, don't know how to articulate nationalism in a way that doesn't erase somebody else's heritage. I think that might be an issue. Because I don't want to, like, I want you to assimilate into American culture, but I also like Mexican food.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the conversation that I'm having internally about how can we decide on how to communicate with these people. You know what I mean? Because this used to not be a problem. It used to just go without saying that assimilation was the ticket price for moving here. You just assimilated, right? For anywhere, not just here, by the way, anywhere. Now it's just like, I'm going to, like Ellen Omar, I'm going to escape my country. I'm going to escape my shithole country and then come here and work in American politics to make my old country better. I'm sorry, you don't get to do that. You know what I mean? That's just not how this works.
You need to return, not a return on investment, but you need to return the favor to America. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and look at her. She rose to prominence and did very well for herself. Like, I don't know what her net worth is, but I'm sure it's significant.
Yeah, it's definitely more than it was when she fled wherever the fuck that is.
I think it's Somalia, right?
Yeah.
She's Somalian? Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I hate to keep going back to my house, but I mean, we integrate British culture into our house too. You know, the good things. I think that's what you should be doing. You should take the things that are good, the things that are meaningful, and bring them over. And that's kind of like, I guess I look at it as a dog, a mutt. You know, you've got some of these purebreds that have problems.
Yeah. Because
they've been so inbred and there hasn't been anything introduced to it. You throw a mutt in there, most of the time, the mutt is going to take all the stronger genes that are better and chaff the rest off.
Yeah. The Habsburgs didn't do that.
Nope.
I mean, they had, like, you look up the phrase Habsburg jaw. You can still see it from time to time from some of the plebs from that area, but it's rough. Yeah, you don't want to. Being purebred isn't necessarily the best thing in the world.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. But let's get back to the Air Force a little bit. You deployed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say? 10 times, something like that.
Yeah, double digits. Something like that.
That takes a bit of a toll, doesn't it?
But it's one of those things where you wouldn't want it any other way. You know, it's
well, you don't want to be stuck. I mean, from irrespective of your family, you don't want to be stuck in as any sort of troop. You don't want to be stuck in garrison.
No.
Well, I mean, if you're a fucking pogue, I don't know if it matters that much.
Yeah.
It's like if you're at the motor pool, then it might be. I don't know. That would still suck, I think.
Yeah.
In the motor pool, you're still doing the same shit you're doing over there for the most part. You're just not you're getting taxed.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
The pay, you know what I mean?
It was great, and I wouldn't change it at all. I missed a whole lot of stuff, but the thought of being left behind and an incident happening or a fight happening, and I'm not there to make a difference.
Yeah, it sucks.
Is awful, and I think that's where a lot of that survivor's guilt comes from, and that kind of stuff. Because I think guys like us, and I'm sure you're the same. You see a situation and you go, man, if only I was there. If only I could have been there to do something about it. Because either nobody could or nobody stepped up and did anything about it. And you're like, man, I could have changed the tide of this entire situation.
Yeah.
If I could have been there.
Yeah, that's part of getting older too. I mean, not just after retirement, but when you're in the military, there's some point where you become a greater asset instructing than you do performing, which is that's a tough pill to swallow.
That is tough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't stay in long enough for that. I was under 30 when I got out. But yeah, I know a lot of my buddies who are like tier one dudes are now instructing either in there or out in the public or in the private sector, and you can tell it's not the same, obviously.
No,
you know what I mean?
but if it's no, it is not the same. But it is nice that after you train somebody or after you've tried to impart some kind of knowledge on somebody, they go deploy and they do some good stuff, and they come back and go, dude, that that trip that we went on where you said this or just some innocuous thing that you said, and it stuck with them. And you're like, dude, I don't remember saying that.
Yeah.
That doesn't even sound like something I would say, but they remember it, and they remember the time you said it, and it stuck with them through and got them through something or helped them achieve some sort of success.
I'm sure you've seen it with your son, or maybe your daughter too, but especially dads and sons, or just men and boys. Teaching a kid something and then seeing them do it is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's.
really
I mean,
cool.
it's. I remember the first time it happened for me. It was weird as shit. It's like teaching a kid how to catch. Right.
Oh, like playing catch.
Like literally, I'm like, no. He was catching with his body. Right. I didn't play football. I just like this is day one stuff. It's like catching with his body. I'm like, hey, you're gonna have a lot, and he kept getting hit in the chest and the face and shit. I'm like, if you put your hands out in front of you and catch it in front of you, that's not going to be a problem. And he kept trying to do it, and finally it started becoming a habit for him. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's rewarding.
I mean, it's not like butt stroking somebody to death, but it's pretty good.
It might be the next best thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're moving into that phase now, and it's like we're all kind of in the community debating, not debating so much as like trying to figure out what the next one's going to look like. The Army is back to sending special forces units to like NTC and fucking JRTC and shit, just like one ODA at a time, even, right? Just to DOD has got this mandate that they want to know if tier 1 and tier 2 operators can operate as part of just the regular Army in a attrition style thing. I don't think that's going to happen because of the drone stuff. You know what I mean? I just don't think there's a front line anymore. The world's too flat for that stuff. But it is good to go back to basics. So that part of it I appreciate. But we're all trying to figure out what the next one's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot more like the 16-17 time frame in the Mosul area, where which is how we should have conducted that entire war. Just like some pipe hitters with some fucking lasers.
Surgical.
You know what I mean? Blowing shit up. But there's always a price to pay for that too.
Yeah.
Like when this whole thing with Israel and Gaza kicked off, my first inclination is, all right, you have the right to fuck that shit up, but is it the right thing to do? Is it the right thing as an infantry guy? My instinct is to kick the door down and not drop a bomb on it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then the first time you kick a door down and there's a tunnel with an IED under it, then I'm like, all right, well, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm not sending somebody to die because of the way I feel about something. I don't think that's right either. So it gets really complicated really fast when you're in a command position. People talk a lot of shit and everybody wants to quarterback this thing. Good luck. You know what I mean? When it comes to your fucking door. I just think, there's a price to pay for safetyism. And it's not always obvious where the line is. Like, how much pressure should we apply? Like, how dangerous does somebody have to be that I don't care that there's civilians around them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest. And I don't envy the people that have to make those decisions.
Yeah. And that's what's tough, right? So the ROEs, the rules of engagement, and they've throughout from the beginning of Afghanistan till now even, because we still have people in places that have ROEs. They've evolved. The gloves were off essentially for the first couple of years of Afghanistan and Iraq, and then
everybody that was driving one of those fucking orange and white taxi cabs. I don't know where that rumor came from that they were fucking Like, why did anybody think that Jaish al-Mahdi or Al-Qaeda or whoever they thought it was driving around in marked vehicles?
I don't know. Well, the way
That came from somewhere.
I know.
And then we were just like, fuck,
Everybody was
what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, those are just taxis. We're like, oh shit,
Whoops.
dude.
My
Right,
bad.
I guess we should fucking say sorry. I don't know.
But I mean, you know, I get the struggle with leadership and perception, that kind of stuff. When you have loose ROEs, it's the dudes are just going to go, it is fucking game on.
Yeah.
And we are, you know,
And there's
we're
a time
going
for
ham.
that.
And there is a time for that, and there is a place for that.
It's called little groups of paratroopers. You know what I mean? We do a fucking invasion, and you've got, for those of you who don't know, an LGOP or little group of paratroopers. You hit the ground, and you find two other dudes and make a fire team, and you've got 45 minutes to kill as many people as you can find until you got to link up with your unit. That's just every paratrooper knows that, and
It works.
it fucking works really well. Yeah.
But then when you really handcuff the ROEs, I think you actually put people in danger more, because there was a point where the ROE was you had to break contact. You ended up having to go call back on SATCOM to 2 echelons above you.
To like a fucking, at least a light colonel.
Right.
To get clearance to drop something like, dude,
Oh,
I'm
it
in
was
a fucking,
above. It was above that.
I'm in a tick right now.
Yeah,
What the
I'm in a
fuck?
tick. They're like, well, can you break contact? You're like, dude, I'm pinned down right now. Okay, well, have you tried not shooting back at them? I mean, it was, and that's ridiculous, right? But that's the way it was, and I think that actually makes it more dangerous, because they were so worried about, like, oh, we don't want to upset the Afghan government and that kind of stuff, and then, you know, get kicked out of country or anything like that. You're like, dude, I'm literally in a tick right now, and I can't break contact, and you're making me call back on SATCOM when I have A-10s overhead that could just schwack these dudes right now.
Or at least scare them. Like, we were in a tick one time, and I was the company RTO at the time. It was right at the end of my company RTO time, and this having had happened I was so glad. Even though I had to go back and just be a regular dick again, I was so glad to be back on the line, so I didn't have to deal with this stupid shit. We're in a tick, and everybody dismounts the truck. I'm still in on comms, and I'm like, hey, we're taking, we're experiencing a coordinated attack from the north. We've got an open stretch of road right here, and I know you got rotary on station. Just have them fucking light that road up.
Yep.
You don't have to shoot anybody. Just fucking light that road up really quick with some miniguns off the little birds or something like that. And they're like, yeah, we got to call for clearance. I'm like, for fucking what?
You're not shooting anybody.
You're not shooting anybody. What the hell, man? Oh, god damn.
Yeah, but it's those kind of things that really force people into really bad situations, and then and started second guessing themselves. Ground commanders started second guessing themselves, and that has created all of that has helped create a culture that is risk adverse. And maybe I'm making a big jump here, but
I don't think so. What's one of the first phrases you learn when you go to basic training is violence of action.
Right.
Like, literally, one of the first things you learn.
Probably in the Army, not the Air Force.
Not in the Air Force. No,
They're
you
not
learn
saying that.
You learn
violence of what?
You learn where the chow hall is.
Right, exactly. But we have created a culture of risk aversion, and that's not just in the Air Force. That's in much of the DoD as it is. And now we have captains, majors, lieutenant colonels, and even colonels in your enlisted tiers as well that are afraid to make decisions because of how, if they make the wrong decision, how it could be perceived by higher ups, and is it going to affect their promotion, their next assignment, or anything like that. Instead of saying, fuck it, this is what we're doing, and I'm operating off of 80% information. This is what we're going to do.
I mean, what's in troop leading procedures? It's start necessary movement comes after the warno. Right? So you start moving before you know the full scenario, much less the full plan.
Yeah, I just need a direction.
It's the second thing. Like, here's what we think is happening, and our best guess is you need to move in this direction. Like, the second step is start necessary movement, not to wait around and get clearance from fucking Colonel dipshit. You know what I mean?
We need more information.
Not that Colonel is a dipshit. It's just the system becomes paralytic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there's and so not just with that risk aversion, but we got to a point where no mission was allowed to go outside the wire, or nothing could happen unless we had manned ISR on it. And you're like, dude, and I got it. These are 4K cameras and all that kind of stuff. We get, you get to see the goodness, and everybody gets to watch Kill TV and everything like that. But what happened to the times where a commanding officer and his enlisted force could go outside the wire and go do the mission, and there was inherent trust in that person?
Yeah, give me task condition standard, and then let me. Otherwise, don't train me and don't put me out
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Just get, I don't know, get robots or something.
We spend millions upon millions of dollars on every single one of these operators that are out there, and to not. I mean, just take pilots, right? We give them hundreds of millions of dollar aircraft, and say, "Oh, you kind of need to ask us for permission, before you engage that MiG or something like that." You're like, maybe let me just defend myself and let me smoke this dude real quick. It's unfortunate that we've gotten that way in our culture.
Yeah, it is. It's silly, to be honest, and I don't know. It's interesting to see from perhaps seemingly unrelated things, you see similarities in changing culture, right? So the safetyism thing that I mentioned before is maybe you might know the phrase helicopter parenting or whatever, but safetyism is the overarching theme of it, and it's gotten into everything.
Yeah.
Even the military, right? So we talk about it. I talk about it a lot, and from the perspective of management and parenting and stuff like that, but it's also infected the military.
Yeah.
And it's like a big part of it is, I think from the military perspective, is the reward and punishment mechanism, right? Which is these are the guardrails in life, and we think of them as left and right limits sometimes, but to me, they are front and back limits. And it's a lot more effective to condition somebody to articulate to themselves what loss, failure, or fear or whatever is, and put that behind you as something that chases you forward to the things that are success and happiness and whatnot, right? That makes a lot more sense to me than bouncing between two yellow lines as you're driving down the freeway. But unfortunately, safetyism makes it this. Like, I've got to stay in this range right here, otherwise something bad's going to happen. Yeah. There's bad over here and there's bad over here. Well, that's not true, right?
Yep.
Bad, the bad stuff you can put behind you as a chase, and you can spend your time chasing goodness. Like, we've gotten so, even politically right now, we've gotten so wrapped up in fighting what we are perceiving as evil, and maybe it is, that we've forgotten to defend good stuff. You know what I mean? And those are they may sound the same, but that's not the same thing. Fighting evil is not the same as defending good. Fighting evil is going to Germany and butt fucking the Nazis into non-existent. Defending good is being a good father or husband. You know what I mean? These are it's like along the same lines, but the practical exercise of these things are wildly different. So how much time are you spending in, I don't know, adversarial political discussions versus talking to your kid about what it means to be a man? You know what I mean? Like, how much shadow work are you doing and how much light work are you doing? I think this is something that people need to ask themselves.
So honestly, I have never thought that I have done well enough parenting, whether it's my daughter or my son. Now, I feel like I'm also playing catch up, and I'm sure I've been told, or I've read someplace, whatever it is, that the quality of the time is better than the quantity
That's
of
right.
time.
Presence. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
also for a man, later is more effective than earlier.
Right.
Like from 1 to 9, they mostly need mom, to be honest. And then it starts to I need some information from dad as well. But from 1 to 9, depending on the kid, is primarily mom.
Yeah. And it's so, and I because of those deployments and training, I missed a lot, but I still feel like I was there for a lot of the goodness. And I think my kids would say that too, but I still look at how amazing of a parent my dad was, and I don't even measure halfway up to the person the father that he was. And I know in reality, like I'm an okay dad, but I still look at him and I go, holy shit. Like he crushed it, and he was busting his ass working.
Yeah.
He was in the military, and he was a carpenter,
Mm.
so he was gone before I woke up,
Mm.
and come back at nighttime, and busted up hands and everything like that, and but I learned so much from him for that, and but to answer your question, I couldn't tell you what the split is, but we have the like we will watch things that's going on in the news or YouTube clips or something like that and talk about the things that are happening in the UK, things
Mm.
that are happening in the US, um, theoretical discussion, even talking about like space and the Atlas thing that's out there floating around in space right now. I mean, we hit everything just to hit a wide
Mm.
variety of talking points and different mentalities. And then I will challenge them on certain thought processes, even if I don't necessarily believe it or not. I'll still try and throw a counter in there
Mm.
to try and steel man their argument or their mentality.
Yeah, I think I'm sure you've noticed this now because your kids are either on the way out of high school or just entering it. There's no instruction on civics or logic, right?
Mm.
So like the people talk about the foundation of our systems in the United States and in the West, more broadly speaking. And certainly there's a Judeo Christian element, there's an English common law element, but most of this stuff comes from Greek and Roman culture, right? Like the idea of natural rights came from Cicero, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not from Locke necessarily. Like Locke certainly was a student of Cicero's, right? Um, this stuff is very old. And one of the things I talk about Organon all the time, Aristotle's like 6 point discussion basically on how to construct an argument and then how to refute bad arguments. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you should learn as early as possible as a human being. And I'm talking about like middle school. Because I remember doing Lincoln Douglas debate in middle school. I don't know if you remember any of that stuff.
I don't remember
They don't do
that
that
one.
shit anymore. Yeah, Lincoln Douglas debate is where you get blindly assigned a topic and you have to defend it,
Oh, okay. That's what it was called?
Yeah,
Okay.
regardless of what you believe. Here's all the data for it. It's your turn to go form an argument for it. And it was a really good program. And then civics as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So civics in the way that things like what so the perfect refutation to the phrase our democracy, despite the fact that we're a constitutional republic, which everybody knows that, but to our democracy is that there's been a direct democracy attempted one time in human history for about 2 years in Athens, Greece, over 2,000 years ago. And they were like, okay, this is fucking stupid. This doesn't work. So we've got to find a representative form of government. There's been, attempts to, for example, have an unpaid legislature. And what happened was that only wealthy people could come serve because
Mm-hmm.
they're the only ones that could take time off work to come do it. So that wasn't an option, right? There's time after time after time, all of these silly things that people try to do or that they believe has been refuted by history. And if you don't look at it, obviously, you don't know that.
Nope.
So the refutation to the phrase our democracy is not that we're a constitutional republic, although that is indeed the case. The refutation is, that there's only been one of those ever.
And it failed.
And it failed. Not only did it fail, but the place that tried it was like, okay, let's formulate something entirely different. You know what I mean? It came up with essentially the system of government that we have today with some tweaks. It's like, this might not be a great system and it's certainly not perfect, but it's the better one, right? And then, when it got to America, we were like, okay, well, these systems are great, but it still concentrates too much power. So we're going to add this idea called federalism, where the Constitution is clear about what powers the federal government has, and everything else goes back
Mm-hmm.
to the state constitution or lower, even, right? That's the reason that it happened, because the smartest men in the history of this country decided with they looked at all of human history, all of human political history, and they were like, we're going to prioritize liberty, and the only way to do that is have a decentralized government, right? And that's the reason that we have all these things in place that, obviously the powerful have been fighting against it to try to neuter it for all this time. But still, that's the reason all this exists. If you don't know the reason that something exists, like if you walk up and see a plug in a big concrete wall, you're like, fuck's this doing here? You pull it out and it's a dam, and now you're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ignorance is very dangerous, even in political terms, and it's. I like Hanlon's razor. I think that you don't need to imply malice where incompetence will suffice, but this is not incompetence. Like,
No, it's malicious.
It's not incompetence to remove civics and logic from school. Sorry, that's not incompetence.
Well, and no, I really do believe it's malicious. And I mean, my daughter would come home and complain about the curriculum that they're rolling in right now. It's like, why do I need to know this? I need to know how to do a budget. I need to know how to do taxes. I need to know how to do, X, Y, and Z. And, when we started talking about, I talked about my wife doing the naturalization test. I would argue that most Americans probably could not pass that test, right? Now.
Yeah.
And it's not a difficult test.
Yeah, no, it's
right.
not,
I mean, it's pretty damn simple.
The Trump administration is in the process of revamping it to make it more difficult right now. But by making it more difficult, it's basically taking it from a third grade level to a fifth grade level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It
not
really
even
is a
kidding.
third.
I'm not kidding,
It is a third grade level.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. Because I was actually kind of surprised when she showed me the questions of what we're going to, that was going to be asked, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I guess. And maybe I took a step back going, okay, well, maybe because I grew up here, like this is just, of course, these are the answers. But I also look at, I could probably do decently well on the British test with 30 minutes of studying.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you go to Disneyland, there's a sign and it says you have to be this tall to ride this ride. Now we're obviously not going to do that, but we should make sure that your IQ is that tall before you ride this ride, right? And that your intent is good. I don't see why that's an adversarial statement, to be honest. I mean, I know part of it is like the toxic / suicidal empathy nonsense. But another big part of it, I had Rob Henderson on the show recently. He's an Air Force vet, Harvard grad, and all this stuff. Grew up in the foster system, so it's a crazy life, right? He's also an Asian with the last name Henderson because of the adoption, but he's a very bright guy. He came up with this phrase, luxury beliefs. It's beliefs that you can hold that don't affect you. You know what I mean? Or you could say NIMBY, not in my backyard kind of stuff. But the luxury belief isn't necessarily NIMBY, it's ignorance. NIMBY is like, I want that to exist, but not around me. And whereas luxury beliefs are like, I just want that to exist because I have no concept of what it looks like. And both of those things are problematic.
Yeah.
I think the ignorant one is more problematic, right? Because it sprawls faster. NIMBY is a lot more isolated, whereas the suicidal empathy stuff, it grows quickly because it's a good human instinct to see somebody that needs help and want to do something to help them.
Yes.
And I'll never stop saying that. That's you do not let that instinct get wiped out of your brain because it's really important. We're communal creatures and it's important that we take care of each other. But if somebody is covering themselves in gasoline and lighting matches and throwing it at their own feet, it's probably not a good idea to intervene on that.
No, that one I may avoid.
I mean, it's like literally, I don't think that's a good idea to get involved in that because that person has made a choice, and that choice does not reflect participation in civilized society.
Right. Yeah. And I think that goes to and I'm trying to remember right now, TBIs play up sometimes, the suicidal empathy or whatever that suicidal thought process where you expect another culture, another person to think the way that you do, but you're in our American government has a habit of doing that. Oh, the Iraqis, they want this. They want democracy. They want to vote. Or, same thing in Afghanistan or however many other countries that we have done this kind of stuff to. And we don't understand their culture. We don't understand their mindset. We think we do, but we don't. And we say, oh, they'll be thankful for this. And they're not.
No.
They didn't ask for it. They didn't want it. We just imposed our will on them.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's been rare in human history that that a culture not your own comes in and convinces you of something in your own home. You know what I mean? The Romans had some success with technology and stuff like that, and then they also had a little bit of success with their system of government specifically, but not the authoritarian. They were already authoritarian. So, yeah, I don't know that would ever. I don't know of a case where it's ever worked. You know what I mean? Like certainly, if you go in and completely dominate somebody, you can make it work for a time.
You force them
for a time, right? Like South Africa, for example, you can go in and dominate somebody for a time, and then once you stop paying attention to or enforcing that, then farmers start getting murdered.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And it'll revert back.
So it's like there's no, it just that doesn't make any sense, and it's not an effective strategy. I don't know why the fuck we thought that was going to work.
Well, people. I mean, if I'm gonna take it back to Afghanistan, we were operating on emotions. Right, and that's, I think that we're kind of going through that a lot right now, and I promise I'll tie it back. But 9/11 happened. We started up TSA, we started up Homeland Security, Patriot Act, and all that kind of stuff.
It was the largest expansion of the federal government history.
Right.
150,000 new jobs overnight, basically.
And it was emotional.
Yeah.
Right, we were pissed. We were pissed and we were upset. The unfortunate stuff with like Charlie Kirk and then people that are going out there and wanting to fry people for what they're saying online. I mean, going after people for it. I mean, okay, fine, like whatever. It's private companies; they can fire whoever they want.
Yeah.
But and it's just like if I'm walking in the street and I talk shit to you, like I got to understand that okay, there's a risk there that I might get punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is my First Amendment right to say whatever the fuck I want to say to you.
Sure.
It's also your right to go, well, I'm not going to take that. So
yeah.
me at your mouth. So I know that people are like, hey, well, Charlie Kirk was the middle of the road and he was the moderate and that kind of stuff. I just there's a lot of emotions going on right now. And I just think that we've probably got to pump the brakes a little bit, but neither side is pumping brakes. It is full throttle right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb rhetoric going on for sure. The violence is only coming from one side. Mm-hmm. But this is something I have conversations with people about this every day. The metaphor that I use is that there's a house fire right now, and your job as somebody who's not inside of it is to get as many people out as you can.
Yep.
And yelling at them and calling them retarded is not the best way to do it, probably. Like, hey, retard, your house is on fire. You would never even think to say that. Actually, if it was your house on fire and it was just you in there, like, hey, fucking retard, your house is on fire.
What are you doing in here, dude?
Funny, yeah. That would be funny because you're my buddy, but like to a stranger, you're not going to talk like that.
Right.
So it's like, do you want to make an impact, or do you just want to make your point? You know what I mean?
I think people just want to be right.
Yeah.
Or they just want to yell and they want to be pissed about it instead of actually taking a step back and let me objectively think about this and look at this and see not just where I'm coming from, but where other people are coming from. And maybe I might change my mind or maybe I don't. And that's fine. And you and I can disagree. And that's cool. And then we can move about our life, And at that point, you can choose to still be friends, or you can go like, no, that's just a line that I can't deal with, which is unfortunate.
I mean, it is what it is. The right of association is very important.
Yeah,
you get to choose what you want, and you gotta live with that choice. And maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Time will tell. And that's why guardrails are important. Guardrails come in a lot of forms. Sometimes laws. That's the one we think of as laws, right? But mostly it's social pressure.
Yep.
Like you don't really experience. You don't interact with the law until you're at least a teenager for most people, if not later in life.
Yeah.
So that doesn't come into play during your developmental years. It's not your idea of guardrails are almost entirely social and not related to punishment. For example, if you act like an idiot, people are going to call you one and treat you like one. Worse, right? But guardrails are not designed just to control you, especially social ones. It's guardrails are basically social guardrails are a map. Like here's the pathway to get to over there where we want to get to, right? You're over here, you're young. Here's a good place to be. That we know that because we've all taken this journey and gotten there. It's safe, whatever, it's effective. And then, you start your journey and you make some adjustments based on, well, maybe you change your mind, maybe you want to go in a different direction, maybe you want to try a new direction, see if it works. It's up to you. But the guardrails aren't there just necessarily to fuck with you.
Yeah.
It's because it's the Oregon Trail. People have done it. You know what I mean?
It's written in blood.
Maybe pay a little bit of attention to people that have already done the thing that you're trying to do. Because if you're not doing that, there's a phrase, smart man learns from his mistakes, a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. If you don't have that capability, that's where you become very susceptible to bad ideas, in my opinion, which is why culture matters. You know what I mean? A part of culture, so culture can be, you can really do a very quick explanation of it. We started sitting around campfires listening to some old man talk about our ancestors, and then it went to books and then radio and television. It's all the same thing, right? We keep horseshoeing around the same thing, basically. But that's what it is. It's about, here's who we are, and the reason I'm telling you this is because this is an effective way to live, right? So you can map this onto your own life. You can plug and play some things. You can jettison what you don't like. Maybe some things become antiquated and you have to update them, whatever. But here's the general blueprint. Go live.
Yep.
That's what it's supposed to be.
And also being okay with you making mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, got it. Like, you're just starting out.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes because we're all going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where some of those things get reinforced, or those mistakes, instead of, hey, just this is the way you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, take the time, learn this stuff, and then have actual conversations with people. If you're really upset about what happened to Charlie, and you should be, the appropriate response is to keep doing what he was doing.
Yep.
Not to tear it all down.
I couldn't have said it better, man. Like, there's a lot of shit talking going on right now, and it's like, hey, man, I got it.
Yeah.
Like, you're upset, and you're rightfully upset.
Yeah.
And you're right to be fucking pissed about this. You really are. And I'm saying you, but the people that are out there.
Yeah.
But like, maybe we just gotta take a beat real quick, take a breath.
Yeah. Well, let's take a breath now. Tell everybody where they can find you.
All right.
Go do the other show.
We're on Instagram at Ones Ready, ONES Ready. And then you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that kind of good stuff.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. This has been Citizen.